Hi fans of high quality entertainment, I didn't see you there. I am going to continue the review and ranking of the Yes and David Bowie albums, but for today I thought I would talk about vinyl records. And I made a list of what I think were my first 10 vinyl records that I owned, that were mine. I had two older brothers, so sometimes I would get a bit confused because my oldest brother, he would let me play his vinyl records anytime. The Doors, The Soft Parade, Rod Stewart, Gasoline Alley, that's the name of it, and many more. Now my other brother, I could not touch his vinyl records. I'd be in trouble. And in fact, one time, I used to, sneak once in a blue moon, I would, and play one of his records when he was out. But one time, he accused me, he had the Beatles original, the box set with the book in it, and he had it placed wherever. And he accused me of playing Let It Be when I didn't. I'm over it now though. So, because I was like 58, 68, yeah, I was under 10, like 8, 9 years old, I started having my very own vinyl records. And so, I'm just kind of guessing, the earliest ones. I'm probably missing some because, it was a long time ago. But these were definitely some of the earliest vinyl records that I ever owned. And I have them on CD, most of them. The very first one that I believe was my own was Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. And I still remember the day listening to this for the very first time. And, most records wouldn't open up. They wouldn't have an insert. And so it was really exciting. And then, of course, the music on top of it. And I loved Sgt. Pepper right away. So, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, number 1. And these aren't in order after that, though. But, so I'm just doing one band, so of course there were other Beatles albums that I own, Magical Mystery Tour and Abbey Road. But it's just one artist per vinyl record. So I remember having this album, I think it was for Christmas, I don't remember. But I got this the very same day I got Abbey Road, and I loved it almost as much as Abbey Road. That's right, Creedence Clearwater Revival, Bayou Country. And I love I kind of wish, that's a cool cover for back in the day. But I kind of wish, without the text there, that was the cover. That would have been pretty cool. And yeah, I absolutely love Creedence Clearwater Revival. And then I got, of course, Cosmo's Factory. I never got Pendulum. I was just a kid. I didn't have money. But I definitely love this album. It's, along with Cosmo's Factory. It's my favorite CCR album. And I don't know how I got this vinyl album, because I'd heard of the musicians, but I hadn't really heard them before. I just heard of them. And it was Blind Faith. And luckily it was this album cover, not the other one, because, yeah. And at first I didn't like it, I didn't. But over time, it's probably one of the first albums that I didn't like, and then I would, give it another listen, and I grew to love it. And it is truly one of my all-time favorite albums, Blind Faith. So that's 3. A fourth one, I probably bought this in a cutout bin or something, for $1 or $2. It was a double album, and I played it quite a bit. I actually really enjoyed it. Ike and Tina Turner, what you hear is what you get. And there is some stuff on here I really shouldn't have been listening to, because there's one song, I think it was I've Been Loving You Too Long, where she kind of moans and stuff. A kid doesn't need to hear that, but really good. So that's 4. 5. I believe I had heard their previous album. I remember the first time I heard Black Sabbath. I was over at a friend's house, and his brother was playing Paranoid. And I loved that right away. It was like, oh my God, that band sounds great. And so this was the first vinyl album I bought. Master of Reality. Or somebody bought it for me, my parents or whoever. Absolutely loved it. This is, along with the Beatles, I think, the first band that I was a big fan of was, of course, the Beatles. And I think, along with Creedence Clearwater Revival, I think this band I was a huge fan of back in the day. I mean, I still love them, of course. Humble Pie, Smokin'. My brother owned Rockin' the Fillmore, the double live album, which I loved. And this one I actually owned myself. Definitely one of the first vinyl records I ever had. And my favorite song on that was I Wonder. It was a bluesy song, but Hot and Nasty I loved. 30 Days in the Hole, of course. I'd love to get a remastered version of this. This is from like the 80s. So yeah. Now this band I believe I had their greatest hits first. I'm not sure, but I might have had this before their greatest hits. I don't remember. But Sly and the Family Stone, Life. And then I don't have their original greatest hits. I have a expanded greatest hits now, double CD. But yeah, I love this. Life. Jane is a Groupie was the standout track for me, and believe me, back in the day, I did not know what a groupie was. I still don't. Maybe somebody can explain it to me. Dynamite, Chicken, Plastic Gem, Fun, Into My Own Thing. That was another favorite of mine. But yeah, I was into the funk back in the day. 3 more. Isn't this exciting? Now, they had a debut album, which I remember seeing in the record store, but I don't think my brothers bought that one. I think they bought, maybe one of my brothers did buy their first album, now that I think of it. But the one that I owned myself was Led Zeppelin 2, which I absolutely loved. And my one brother who wouldn't let me touch his vinyl records, and I'm not bitter at all. I'm not. He was into Led Zeppelin. I'll tell you, he was into Led Zeppelin. Yes, he had the Fragile album on vinyl. Around that time, I kind of liked it, but I wasn't really into it like I am now. And then my other brother was more into anything. He was the Doors. I remember he went to the Woodstock movie when it was in the theaters, and he had the big poster in the bedroom. Great memories. Another Canadian band, and I did not know they were Canadian until I bought this album, and somehow I figured out that they were Canadian, and that actually made me proud. It really did. Share the Land by the Guess Who. Great, great album. And the lead singer, Burton Cummings, he has an official Facebook page, and he posts almost every day interesting stuff and movies. He even posted about Sparks once and all the different album covers they had, and had a nice write-up on them. And he was in Belleville. I've told this story before. He was in Belleville a few years back, and I messaged him on Facebook just saying great, it really was, it was a great concert, blah, 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 not thinking he would respond. And he did. He sent me a nice little quick message back. So that was nice. And finally, I actually said that Humble Pie was my first, after the Beatles, possibly my next favorite band, but I was wrong. I forgot. This was the band after the Beatles that I still am, a huge fan of. And I had a paper route, I saved up my money, and I bought this double album. And when I told my mom that I was buying Grand Funk Railroad, she said, "What?" I think she misheard what I said. Grand Funk Live album. Look at that cover. If that isn't rock and roll, I don't know what is. And then the amplifier. Look at that. On the old Capitol label. So yeah, and I remember listening to this on headphones, and I think it was probably the very first, oh, that broke. It was probably the very first album that I ever listened to on headphones, and I was the originator of the air guitar. I remember doing air guitar to this and the Who's Won't Get Fooled Again, and yeah, I was the original air guitarist. Thank you. So that's I believe it's close to my very first 10 vinyl albums. I would be interested in your thoughts below on what were some of your first vinyl records, if you ever had them. And, or just let me know what you think of some of the albums here I was talking about. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Look at the kitty cat. Isn't she cute? Don't touch her. Yeah. Go.